Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. I hope everybody's having a great week. This week, I wanted to talk about the inner work. As I've said in the podcast, growing up, I had a lot of issues that I wasn't aware of. Growing up, I wanted to be the girl that everybody was proud of. I wanted to be the girl that, my parents could be like, I believe you're doing a great job. I wanted to be the girl that had all these friends and all these connections and everything else. Because I needed to hear, like, I'm so proud of you. You're making it. I always knew you'd be a successful person. Again, because of the lack of attention I had growing up, the lack of love, the lack of actual emotional support. So I always seeked it in things that were outer, right? And for me, it was more of like people and not like things or big houses or a lot of money. It was always just the desire to hear it from people, right? So my mindset mentor said something a few months back that really hit home. And he said, what you seek for in other people, you are seeking from yourself. And then there it made sense. I always chase love, like I said, acceptance, success, a job, whatever. But I was truly honestly seeking it from myself. I wanted to be proud of myself. I wanted to be happy of who I was. I wanted to be able to accept myself fully with all of my things and all of the things that have happened to me, and be able to sit and be happy with myself, because at the end of the day, you are your biggest cheerleader. And when you seek outside validation, things can get really messy really fast. So let's talk about it. How was I able to finally sit and say, no matter what, no job, no thing, no money can make me more than I already am, more or less. So I fully love myself and I accept myself as I am. Right? How did I get there? By accepting reality. Like, do you guys ever just sit and think about all the thoughts that run through your mind? How many of them are just like, oh man, if I would just do this thing, or if I would have done that 10 years ago, I would be here, or I wish something was different. How many times a day do we go through that cycle of not accepting our reality? Because you're thinking about a way of doing something different tomorrow or 10 years ago. You're living in the present and in the future and the past. So accept your reality. That's what I had to do. And it was hard at first because I had to realize, like, wait a minute, there's parts of me that I know I don't like. There's parts of my life that I don't like. There's things that I want to do. There's things that I'm not aiming for, that I'm not working towards. But that is my reality right now. And accepting reality can be difficult because we don't like it. Right? But if you accept reality and you accept the fact that this is where you are right now, then you can start working towards something better. Start moving in the right direction to work towards something better, right? So that's what I did. I accepted reality, and I used to like fight it so much that I was in constant anxiety, overthinking, and wanted to take action. I truly always wanted to take action, but because I didn't feel good, it was harder to take action. Everything felt forced. Everything felt like I was like pounding myself through things, right? And it shouldn't feel like that. Life should flow easily. And what feels right, you just take that step, and the Lord aligns everything else, right? So the faster you recognize facts and truths about your life, regardless of how uncomfortable or challenging they'll be, the faster you can move into awareness and have more self-compassion. So that's what I did, right? The other thing I started to do was to take care of my emotional health. I knew I had a lot of things stored up from my childhood growing up, and I started to dig. I started to keep a journal. And I will always tell you guys this, the moment that I started to journal about my life and asking myself questions and really sitting with myself is the moment that I became so aware, because I wrote it down in paper. It's not just up here anymore. I wrote it down in paper, and I'm able to look at it, read it, process it, and accept it, and become aware, right? It's on paper, because you're no longer like just processing it in your head. You're processing it, writing it out. You're processing it by rereading it. You're processing it by, looking back if you want to. So that's something that I usually do, is every 6 months I sit with myself to reflect, and I read back. About 2 or 3 months, I think, I start reading, and I just shuffle, and I read through where I was to where I am, 6 months later. Again, it helps you process it. It helps you see where you've been and where you're at now and where you're going. So journaling is a great thing. And if you don't know what to ask yourself, I guess I can give you some questions I started to ask myself. I said, why do I seek acceptance from others? And I sat with that and I journaled through that. Why do I feel like I need to impress others with my success? I sat down and I journaled through that. Why do I feel like no matter how much I accomplish, it is never enough or fulfilling? I journaled through that question, and I found all of the answers. And the fact is that I was not happy with myself. I didn't feel like I was doing fulfilling work before I launched Kingdom Culture. So I changed it, and I launched Kingdom Culture, and here we are. Why did I need to impress others with my success? I think I had a root of like, hey, look at me, whatever, I'm enough, I'm good, I'm cool, because growing up I was bullied by other people, and I was made fun of because of the way that I walk. So in my mind, if I was successful and made a bunch of money, I could be like, haha, look at me, I have all these things, even though you bullied me. And so I had to heal that root, because in reality, we are all called to be the best versions of ourselves, and operating from a space of hurt will make it crumble so fast. So I had to heal all those parts of me, and now I'm successful, but I do it in the dark. I don't flash anything. I don't talk to anybody about my next moves. I congratulate myself by giving myself rewards. And yeah, life is so much simpler because I am happy, I am in joy, and hey, if I don't hit the next goal, that's okay. We go back to the drawing board and try something new, and that's exciting for me. The fact that I don't have to struggle to get to success. I know that I'll get there because it's what I love to do, and I'm doing it day by day, and God is just giving me all the steps, right? So take care of your emotional health. Start thinking about the things that you want to change and why you think you have those habits, or why you think you have those thoughts or those feelings, and start journaling through them, because it's important, right? The way that, journaling helps too is because you become aware and you become mindful. You become mindful of the things that you have ignored for a long time. I thought I was good. I had came to Christ, and before I started my personal journey, development journey, I said, oh, I'm good. I got Jesus. Like, he'll heal everything, and kind of went through the motions. But guess what? 6 months into my walk with Jesus, I relapsed, and I went back to drinking, and I went back to feeling alone, and I went back to feeling so sad. Why was that? Because I did not work towards healing and actually being aware of the things that were keeping me in that headspace. So then I started my personal journey, development journey, and I came to realize that there was a lot of things that I was ignoring. There was a lot of things that I was just shoving down, things that I was putting in the back of my mind. But I kept resurfacing through drinking, my body getting sick, like all of these things. So you become more mindful when you start like exploring who you are. Become curious of who you are and why you are the way that you are. And then you become mindful and aware of the things that you don't like. So that's what happened to me. I started to become more aware of my thoughts and feelings. And man, was it ugly. It was, because I could not sit by myself in a room in my apartment. I always was out keeping myself busy because I could not sit. And I didn't want to feel the things. And I know that I needed to, but I needed to go through that process and understand that the roots of my thoughts and emotions needed to be brought up. I needed to know. I needed to be aware of where they were coming from, because then I would be able to let them go and move forward. I started meditating and praying and spent a lot of time on my own. I would even go out to dinner by myself and just kind of bring my journal and journal through the after I was done eating. And I also spend a lot of time in parks and stuff, like outside, to just kind of center me and get me outside of my comfort zones, to be able to work through this stuff and be by myself. And I think that that's scary for some people, to be by yourself and not have anybody around or any distractions or anything else. And it's kind of like, once you do it though, it's worth it. Once you start doing it, you build the habit and you start doing the things, it's so much easier. But for some people, it's so hard to sit by themselves. There was actually a study done on this in 2014 by Timothy D. Wilson at the University of Virginia and Harvard University. The researchers aimed to explore how individuals handled being alone with their thoughts without any external distractions. They wanted to understand whether people would prefer a negative stimulus, like a mild electric shock, over being left alone with their thoughts for a short period. Think about that. If somebody said to you, hey, I want to try something. Can you sit with yourself for 15 minutes? Nothing to do, no phone, no fidgeting, no anything, no paper, nothing, just by yourself. And you just sit there. But we know, we sit and our mind starts going, our thoughts start pouring out. Can you do that? Because according to this, participants were asked to sit alone in a room for 6 to 15 minutes without any distractions such as books, smartphones, or other activities, and just sit there and think. That was one option. Or option 2 was to get a mild shock. The study showed that 67% of men and 25% of women chose to give themselves at least one electric shock during the thinking period rather than just sitting quietly. 65% of men, 25% of women could not sit with themselves for 6 minutes. That was the minimum, 6 minutes. 15 was the most. Can you sit with yourself for 6 to 15 minutes? Or does your mind go all over the place and emotions start bursting out and you don't know what to do with them? That's why it's so important to know yourself and become aware and be mindful. The study showed that many people preferred to engage in negative stimulus rather than be left alone with their thoughts, highlighting the discomfort of introspection of some individuals. That shows how disengaged we can be. That shows how disengaged we can be and how we can be so disconnected from our emotions. Wow, disengaged. So we're just kind of going through life, right? We're just kind of, today's day is I have to go to work, eat, shower, sleep, get up, go to work, eat, shower, sleep. And you don't truly get to know yourself because you don't want to dig deep and figure out what's wrong with you and figure out where those feelings are coming. I get it. It's scary. It's ugly. I did it. I did not like it. Even to today, I'm so proud that I catch myself now and I immediately just kind of journal through, why am I feeling this way? Or if I'm feeling like I'm not worthy enough, is it true? No, it's not true. I am worthy. The Lord made me. I have a purpose. I have a beautiful family that loves me. If that is the only thing that I do is raise up my son in a beautiful household, so be it. But we have to start looking at ourselves. The inner work is what will get you somewhere. The inner work is what matters. The inner work is what will keep you happy and at peace. And guess what? The inner work always also helps with you having a deeper connection with the Lord, because you're going to be in deep prayer. You're going to be like, okay, Lord, let's do this. And your Holy Spirit will give you discernment to know, okay, this is where this is coming from. At least for me, that's what happened. And as always, 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 I leave you guys with a Bible verse. This week's verse is in 1 Peter 2:9. And it says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light." That's beautiful. Let me read that again. "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light." God doesn't want you sitting in your pain and wondering in the world if you're doing what you need to, or if you are who you are meant to be, or wondering what is life. A lot of us have been going through the cycles, the motions, without doing the deeper work. But think about it. How happy can we be? How beautiful can our life be? What can we create our life to be if we heal and we do the things and we do the hard work, right? This verse speaks to the identity and value given by God, indicating that believers are special and chosen by him. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, like it says in Psalms 139. You don't need any external validation. You don't need any external things to make you happy and make you whole. God does that. God did that the moment he created you. And realize that God loves you exactly as you are, but he won't leave you where you are. He won't leave you where you are. And, I hope and pray that this episode was helpful and it brought value to your life. And remember that I love you, but that the Lord loves you more. Always, always, always. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It's just myself. I don't have like a big marketing anything. So if we are able to grow the podcast through people, I would really, truly appreciate it. I also have Instagram and TikTok linked below. So thank you guys so much for your support, and we'll see you guys next week.